question of sightlines came up, and a group of us went to the hearing and objected to any change. Council said, right, we're listening to the people. There will be no change in the sightlines. Now it seems when there are public hearings and the public says, we don't want this, like something at 57th and Granville or high-rise buildings in Chinatown, nobody listens and the change is made. This is a dramatic difference, and I'd like an explanation of how things evolved to this kind of situation.
Again, in terms of the evolution, Ray might have more of a perspective than I, but I would say that in my observation across the 4.5 years that I've been here, it is always true that there is a robust process. There's a robust dialogue. Not everyone agrees, and everyone thinks that their perspective, I tend to hear this a lot, is the perspective. And everyone tends to think that they speak for the public. What I actually find when we do all of our listening is that there are many publics with many different perspectives. And one of our jobs is to balance everything we hear, assess it against our own professional experience and expertise, make a recommendation to council, and then council makes up their mind. Well, let me finish, man. So the point is, sometimes council agrees with one of the voices that they hear, and the view corridors was one example, where not only did council preserve the view corridors, but we added 3 more. In other cases, such as Chinatown, you could look at that as council disagreed with the changes, or you could look at it that the public input that went into that process over several years kept it from being proposals for 250 to 400 feet, which were the actual proposals that were coming across my desk before we started that kind of an exercise. And after multiple years of process, in terms of listening to an awful lot of people, the actual proposal that ended up getting debated at council was significantly more modest, in my opinion, than what we. In some parts of the downtown east side, there was no change. The most sensitive historic areas stay at 75 feet, which is the allowable height now. Some went from 70 to 90. Some went from 90 to 120. And the so-called special sites, of which we recommended 3, and council approved or supported 2, were at 150 feet. And again, the proposals that I had, of which there were multiple, originally ranged from 250 to 400 feet, and there were proposals to rezone the downtown east side in its entirety for 400 feet right across the board.